Hello and welcome to Front Row Racing World Championship. This week it is round 12, which is Italy, Monza. I am Front Row Racing GP, also known as Stevie Sherbets. With me in commentary this evening we have got Front Row Racing RI, also known as Rachel Brooks. How are you this evening, Ray? Ray, are you with me this evening?
Yes,
you are, you're there. Hello, how are you this evening?
I'm very well, sorry. That must have been the microphone when I was messing about with it. Yeah, very well. I'm loving it being up this commentary box. Mr. Hulkenberger, don't come back. I like the nice and dry area up here.
I'm sure he's enjoying his time in Australia, and I'm pretty sure he doesn't want to come back, but unfortunately for us he will be joining us again soon, but don't tell him I said that. Also this evening we have got down in the pit lane Front Row Racing NW, also known as Adam Hill. How are you this evening, Adam?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. Looking forward to a good race at a good track.
Good. I'll come to you shortly in a moment for some drivers' comments and some information from down in the pit lane. But what I want to do first of all is just run through the race results from last week. So last week was the Belgium Grand Prix, and the winner from that race was Front Row Racing GP. Sorry, no, that's me. I wish I won it. It was Front Row Racing DP, who's in the Mode Red Mana Marussia. He's not got in his car just yet. He's probably waiting for his teammate to join, as he likes his teammate to be the first driver there, because his teammate is Kev187, who is the current World Championship champion. So the results from last week: Front Row Racing DP taking the first place, Kev187 his teammate second, Temp Fear in third. Fourth place was It's Hammer Time. Fifth place was Over Dyking. Sixth was GT5 King. Seventh was Bartman. Eighth was Jamie James. Ninth was Dan Evs. 10th, Jason, also known as Yarson. So Jason Yarson Jason. And in 11th place, Conzo 1993. Mornay in 12th. Killer Corkin in 13th. And we did have all 14 drivers finish the race, but unfortunately the reserve driver for Landmark Racing, which was Mr. Hamilton 44, had a technical disqualification with his footage not being available on YouTube. Unfortunately, he was finished in second place, and he was given driver of the day, even though it may come across as controversial that he got disqualified and still gets driver of the day. I believe it to be a very well deserved driver of the day. So definitely a driver to look out for in the future. Team of the day: Mode Red Mana Marussia, Front Row Racing DP, and Kev187, for getting the first and second places on the podium. So the Constructors Championship, we've got Mode Red Mana Marussia 300 points. Up the line Ferrari is 268. Rising Lads Red Bull is 202 points. Flaming Dragons Mercedes 179 points. Team Freedom 113. Sensen Racing Williams 44 points, and Landmark Racing Sauber with 7 points. So the Drivers' Championship standings are like this, and this is extremely tight. We've got Temp Fear up at the top with 161 points. Kev187 in second place with 157, only a few points apart there. And then his teammate now in third place with the current last few races, I should say, winning them. He's jumped up there quite a bit with 143 points. Over Dykink in fourth with 136. Jamie James in fifth with 128. Conzo in 11th with 60. There's a big drop down in points then. And we've got GT5 King on 53, Bartman on 50, Killer Corkin on 25, Dan Evs on 18, It's Hammer Time on 12, Jason on 9, Mornay on 4, and Joey Finn on 3. So we're going to quickly run through the teams and the drivers of what we've got in with us this evening. So starting off up at the top, we have the I'm just trying to remember their team name. They are the Flaming Dragons Mercedes of Dan Evs and Temp Fear. They are both with us this evening. Next, we have the Rising Lads of Bartman and It's Hammer Time 44. Then we've got Sensen Racing Williams of Killer Corkin and Jason. Up the line Ferrari of Overdykink and Jamie James. The McLaren Honda of... I say McLaren Honda, it's up the line. No, not up the line. Team Freedom, I'm doing my Murrays again. Team Freedom, McLaren, GT5 King and Conzo 1993. Landmark Racing, Sauber is the next team on the list. Unfortunately, we don't have Joey Finn, but we do have Mornay 77 in with us, and then we've got Kev 187 and Front Racing DP in the Mode Red Mana Marussia, and it looks like it is bang on half past, and I think it's all the drivers that we're going to be getting in, so we may as well click go and get this session underway. Right then, thoughts, Ray? No, not thoughts. Before I ask you your thoughts, Ray, I want to do question of the day because I like this question. So here's a question for all the viewers, and anyone that watches back over this can put comments on the YouTube channel. And also, Adam down in the pit lane, get thinking on this one because I will be coming to you to ask you your answer. So, question of the day: if you could add any race circuit to the F1 season that is not currently in use, what circuit would it be and why? So Ray, what circuit would you go for?
Knockhill.
Interesting.
Knockhill up in Scotland. Because I'd like to see a Scottish race track in F1.
Yeah, good answer. And why not? We could guarantee rain, and what are we going to get today for the qualifying at Monza? It looks like it's going to be sunny. Well, there we are. I'm going to head down to Adam in the pit lane. Adam, first of all, the question of the day. I'd like to know your answer on that, and then have you got any information from down there in the pit lane?
Alright, what track I'd like would be Laguna Seca.
Oh, that was my answer.
Oh, there you go, Steve. I just screwed you.
Yeah, you've beat me to it, but I agree with you 100%. I'd love to see the cars going on the corkscrew.
Yeah, definitely. Brilliant. Alright, a little bit of information from practice. There's a possible lap time of 119. So you're looking at your sector 1 times 27.3, sector 2 26.7, sector 3 25.5. But that's barring no little lockups. It's got to be a perfect lap to get that.
Well, just on that, in a practice session, only just earlier on before this event, I saw Front Racing DP break that 27.3 barrier in Sector 1, so there's a possibility of even faster lap time there, but it all depends on whether the drivers can hang on to it for the rest of the lap. Any drivers down in the pit lane that are not looking forward to the event today, or maybe possibly not looking forward to the first corner or anything like that?
Just give me a sec. Sorry about that.
It's the way I asked it. I like dropping people in at the deep end.
People like Yarson, they're just hoping to fight for like the scraps, really, get the odd point or two. But you know, it depends what Yarson does. I think last season he only done one stopper, so if he can manage that, it might put him in there somewhere. But that's probably the story of the day. Some people do like the track, but it's mostly just seeing how the first corner goes for most drivers. That's the critical point at the start of the race. It doesn't matter where you really qualify, because if there's a big accident into turn 1, it opens the race up for anyone.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, I can imagine pretty much everybody on the grid, apart from whoever is starting at the back, is not going to be looking forward to going into that turn 1. We'll come back to you in a short while, but if you see anything on circuit down there or see anything in the pit lane of interest, jump in, let us know. So coming back to Ray, anybody out on circuit?
Yeah, I'm looking at Summertime 44. He had a wee wiggle in, is it Shikari? Adam, any word from Hammer Time in the press conference?
Yeah.
You've done him.
Like a speech. Alright, we'll just put it like this. He had an awful race in Belgium last week, which I think a few drivers did. But he's looking forward to it. He was going to use his wheel today. He's been having a few problems with it, but he's looking forwards to a good battle. That's my summary.
was that was the summary? That was the short version.
The summary. If I was to read it out, would end qualifying and be on the start of the race.
Yeah. Well, He's on the prime tyres at the moment, so maybe he's aiming to qualify towards the back to avoid that first corner. So we shall see what happens there. But he's set a sector 1 of a 28.0, which is a little off the pace, but he is on those prime tyres. And what I can tell you around this circuit is, in qualifying, quite often, it's the second lap that is the fastest lap. So we'll move on, see who else we've got on screen at the moment. We've got Dan Evs. I don't believe we had any comments from Dan Evs in the media. I do believe he shunned us, unless he spoke to one of you two that I'm not aware of. If he did, let us know. So we'll have a quick look through. Over Dykink, he had an interesting comment to say in the media preference. I didn't mean to say that. In the conference room. Very short and sweet. What did he have to say, Ray?
2 seconds, I get my notes.
You're supposed to have these ready.
On the shortest one.
The shortest one. Right. You dropped Adam in it, and there he was, prepared. He was prepared. It looks like he's bailed out of his lap. Do you know what? I think Over Dykink only had fuel for a 1 lap and was going for it. I think his time froze on him, so he had to abandon the lap because I think it was invalidated. So Over Dykink,
well,
what did? Yeah,
that's not a welcome, is it? If he's pitting on his first out lap or first time flat, he said welcome to Ferrari territory. But will we see the man Marusha's push or Modred push them to the side and show them you need to do better than that?
Quite possibly. I mean, Kev 187 just recently has been struggling with practice. Now down in the pit lane, I am aware that he's not been seen very much over the last few days. He's not been able to make some of the practice sessions, and I think, Adam, did you manage to catch up with Kev 187 earlier on today? And I know he's not been showing his face much, but what did he have to say?
He just said that he's had severely limited warm-up, but that doesn't seem to have affected him with his sector 1 time of 27.275 on the options.
Well, there we go, that's bang on what it needs to be in a 27.5 sector 2, and that is exactly what it needs to be as well. So I wouldn't be surprised, you know. I mean, last season, what was the pole time last season? Do we know what the pole time was last season?
Yeah, it was a 119.734 set by Kev 187.
Well, there we go, and he's on for beating that already on his first hot run. And if he does beat it, I'd be surprised if he goes for a second. But the time is actually a 120.4. He didn't beat it, no, it was a little bit off. Looking at it, actually, his sector 2, I do apologise, his sector 2, I looked at it and saw a 27.5 and my brain thought 26.5. So there it was, all in that middle sector. So he will be going for a second hot lap. So we're just going to see what his first sector is like, just to see if he is pushing harder on the second lap than the first one. So while we're watching Kev 187, I think that was a bit, yes, his time's frozen. He's going to have to abandon that lap. I do believe that that's going to have invalidated it, unfortunately for him, unless it was frozen for the sector times, but it's a 10th off anyway. We'll go find somebody else that's out on circuit. Not very many. Killer Corkin, yeah. 10th Fear, let's go find him. 10th Fear. It doesn't want to show me 10th Fear. There we go, we are on him. Yes, 27.2 sector 1.
Kev's lap time hasn't been cancelled. He's done a 26.9 second sector.
Yeah, he's abandoned it with that one then. Because, yeah, 27's in that. I mean, 10th Fear's second sector, 27.4. It's not going to be a bad sector, but he wants to be hitting them 26s, really. Does he know it? Is he going to head for the pit lane? It looks like he has. I'm wondering, you know, whether some of these drivers are just carrying enough fuel for one hot run, and if they're getting the lap invalidated, they're running themselves out of time, and they need to get a banker in, and they need to be getting them in soon. So if we look at the timing board, we've only got three drivers that have set times, and it's a 1:22.4 and a 1:22.7 and a 1:23.2, so they're nowhere near the pole times. In fact, let me scroll up a bit more. There we go, Front Row Racing DP with a 121.9. I just did a Murray with me buttons. So, so yeah, Front Row Racing DP set a provisional pole of a 20.1. He'll be looking to try and get a little bit more off that. So on Front Row Racing DP, I do believe he was eager and ready, and he was the first one in the press conference today. And who should we go to? Who's got the comments on this one? Is it Adam or is it Ray?
That'd be Ray, that will.
Ray, what have you got on DP for today's event?
Sorry, my tablet's died, so I don't have the comments.
Are you just playing ball games with us? Are you playing ball games here? To you, to me, to you, to me. Pair of Chuckle Brothers.
Yeah, the Chuckle Brothers.
Catch DP's comments. I didn't catch DP's comments. Not been sent through to me.
That's alright, I shall see what we've got with those comments. I'm pretty sure it's just you two trying to play with me. Over Dykink's on a lap, we'll stick with him. He's got a 27.4 first sector. Ray, if you want to talk over Dykink's lap and let us know how he's getting on while I look for DP's comments, because I'm pretty sure he sent them to me.
I sent them to you, he never sent them to me. My tablet's just booted up again. Oh, he's come through. Is it a Safari again? He done it quite nicely. He's coming up. It's get power down, push it as fast as you can up to the 8th gear, about 100 metre marker board or less, 50 metres. He's hit the brakes down into 4th gear. I'd usually take it 5th. Maybe that's where I'm losing my time in the parabolica, and he's done a 120.7, so that's where I'm losing time then.
Yeah, he's currently hit 3rd place with that. He's losing a little bit in sector 2 and he's losing a little bit in sector 3. In fact, it's probably a couple of tenths here in each sector. Just looking at DP's comments, fortunately it was only me that had them, and he was a bit premature with them because he actually sent me the comments before I asked for them. Always liked this track, but never really had any success here. I'm airborne being the most memorable reason for today, just hoping for a good race and no rain. So there we go. That was the famous turn 1 incident that from racing DP, over Dyking and Kev 187 and Jammy James, when they were 4 wide into turn 1 and DP ended up upside down airborne. So over Dyking, he should have been, he needed wings. So yeah, very interesting race that one. So over Dyking, I believe to be in on an in lap. So we'll see if we can find someone that's just about to start a fast one. Kev 187, his sector 1 is looking okay with a 27.3. He's currently sat in 2nd place. So the guy that's on pole is his teammate. Now can he beat his teammate? We shall soon see. Now, talking of strategy, the tyres here, I think you can afford to do 2 flying laps on them because they will take you quite a fair way into the race, and there might even be some people sitting in the pit lane at the moment not wanting to go out and do a lap to save their tyres so they could go even further and maybe do 1 less pit stop. Kev's not quite got into them 26s in that sector 2 again, but he might improve his lap time. I think he may have just no, he hasn't improved it. Maybe he'll be going for that second run. Yeah, just
Dan F's, he's in sector 2 and he's on a flying lap. He's done a 27.4. So I'll put him about, for sector 1 he'll be down to about 5th place. See how sector 2 is now. I've been in practice sessions with these guys and it's been quite interesting when Dan's next to you, isn't it?
I'm not going to make any comment, but there is some interesting videos on YouTube about Danev's incidents in practice sessions, yes.
One that nearly liked a lot of all out, but we don't know if he was to blame or if he was to blame. It was only practice, so it's irrelevant, so I thought it was quite interesting how every time Dan was there was a crash. What did he do? He started timers up at him. What was it? Dan Ames. Did it get invalidated? No, where are they?
Terrible luck for Kev 187. On a good lap, sector 1 time 27.1, sector 2 27.0, and then out for Scary went a bit wide and had to pit in.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. But we have 10th here in 2nd place, over Dykink in 5th place. Just looking at which of the top drivers are out on circuit. DP is out on circuit, and so is 10th here. 10th here has just returned. DP, he's on an outlap. So let's see who the next one of the top drivers are. Dan Evans, we know, is on an in-lap. Killer Corkin, let's see how he's getting on. So
yeah, and strict ruling is quite strict round here, as I've found out in practice session. Although I've not been disqualified compared to other drivers, but it is strict. Maybe I wasn't pushing the limits.
Maybe.
Killer with that distracted him, my car coming out of pits. Soon find out he quite makes apex. Well, we wiggle there, power down, up the gears, 5th, 6th, 7th. What's his speed going to be by the end of this straight? Let's find out. I can't read that for here. 208 mile an hour. Hard on the brakes.
Oh, he's had to bail out of it, unfortunately. I was just looking for his comments, and I can tell you that he was what his comments are for this race is he's assuming there'll be a collision at the first corner, and just hopes that he's not going to be involved. And it also, interestingly, he said, "I probably will qualify in the back." So today there is a positive on that. So hopefully he's avoiding to miss the contact at the first corner by qualifying at the back of the grid. So there we go. Now I'm on board with Mornay. He's on an outlap. Comments from Mornay today. Oh, Konzo's just starting one. Let's get on with Konzo. Yep. So
I'll let Adam do Money's.
Yep. So Konzo.
Yeah,
Mornay, yep.
Some points this evening.
Okay. Yep.
It looks like the aim of most drivers, though.
Yep. That's a very short. I mean, I know Mornay doesn't. There's actually been times when he's not sent us a comment at all, so it's nice to hear from him. So yeah, he is looking to collect some points this evening, and we may end up having an event where all the drivers finish again, hopefully. So we are on board with Connor. He has set a first sector of a 27.7. He would have been looking to go a bit quicker, but as we know, it is the second laps that tend to be a bit quicker. And with Connor, I spoke to Connor earlier on today, and was asking him. How's he feeling about this event? We had an interesting conversation on this, and he went, well, I'm looking forward to targeting the top 6. Don't know if I will qualify or not, but would give me the option of a one stop if I didn't. So he's on the circuit to qualify. He's considered it. So does that rule the one stop out of the question? Well, it all depends on how much pressure he puts through these tyres. So there's a little hint that a one stop could be possible. Now, looking at last season, one driver did a one stop, and Adam, last season, strategies, most drivers and the one stopper, who were they, what happened?
Yarson just did the one stop, which was quite amazing, and every other driver did 2 stops.
Yeah, and Yarson last season I think finished about 8th or 9th, maybe 10th, so it wasn't a podium driver that got the one stop. Yeah, so I think most people did the 2 stops, but it just goes to show that there are some drivers out there that are thinking about it and willing to do it. So
Yeah,
Konzo currently sits in 8th place. He's not improved his first sector on his second lap. I'll just have a quick look. There's nothing changed up at the top. But I tell you what, there's a guy I want to get on board with, but he's just on his outlap, which is over Dykink. He's left it a bit short of time to leave the pit lane. I think he's just about got enough time to get one final run in. So we'll have a look at him in a moment. We'll just see who else is out on circuit. It's Hammer Time. He's on a lap. His first sector's not quite up there though. It's only a 27.5. It needed to be nearly half a second quicker than that, really. But we shall see what his second sector's like.
I'm just looking at the timing screen. I can see Jamie James hasn't put a time in. GT5 King, I know he's on an outlap at the minute, and Yarson, I think.
Yeah, It's Hammer Time has just done his sector 2, 27.2, so he may improve his own lap. You say you were watching Jamie James there. What did he have to say to you?
Timing screen.
Oh, timing screen of Jamie James. Yeah, we've not had comments from Jamie James.
Jamie James, well, he can't qualify this race. He's got a qualifying ban for causing a race start collision at the last event. the stewards found him at fault, and his comments were he's going to stay out of trouble and on the first lap and enjoy it.
Well, there we go.
Maybe we'll see him push through the field in it, and we've been kicked out of the pit lane.
Yep.
Kev 187 got first.
He's just got pole with a 20.0. Overdijking is on a hot lap. Mornay is out on circuit 10th here, which means DP has retired from the session. So there's only Overdijking, I believe, on 10th here that could possibly beat this. I'm watching Overdijking at the moment. He's currently sat in 5th place. He won't be happy with that. And what I can tell you is DP won't be happy because he was expecting to be in the 19s. Now it just goes to show the ability of Kev 187 being able to put it on provisional pole. Obviously there's still a couple of drivers still to finish their laps, but Kev 187, limited practice, gets back from work late, jumps straight into the cockpit of his car and goes and sticks it on provisional pole. But let's see what Overdijking can do. We've got no idea what his times are. All we can see is a Ferrari going around Monza extremely quickly, and we're just going to have to wait for him to cross the finish line to find out whether that car can improve on its position of 5th place. So it's coming up to the line now. We can see in the top left hand corner of the screen 5th place. Will it change? 3rd. So there we are, 3rd place it is. Who else do we have out on the circuit? It's not letting me change to anyone else, so that is the session complete. So we're just going to have to wait now for the cars to return back to the Parc Fermé, for all the drivers to take a breather, take a bit of fresh air in, and have a cigarette and a pint of beer before they start the race. As that's what James Hunt does. Or used to do, I should say. So Adam, what would your thoughts be down from the pit lane then for this event? Favouring any particular drivers?
Yeah, it's looking like Kev 187 and Front Row Racing DP are probably going to have a race between themselves, but it won't stop. Dom and possibly 10th Fear trying to put a little bit of pressure on them to cause maybe a bit of miscommunication, maybe a bit of an off-track experience for any of the top 2 drivers. But it looks like it's going to be quite an open race midfield.
Yeah, just looking at what we've got on screen, we can see that Jason decided not to go and do a qualifying lap. So that could be that him setting himself up for that one stopper that he did last time. So as we're waiting for the next session to get underway, I've just noticed in my notes, and this is something I'm sure I mentioned earlier on, Duo Finn unavailable. No reserve driver in place because he did let us know at short notice. That's why we've been able to get 3 of the commentary crew at the circuit. So here we are then for the Monza Grand Prix World Championship at Front Row Racing. I've said that absolutely all completely backwards, so I'm going to say it again, but not backwards. So it's time for the World Championship at Front Row Racing. I've even said that the wrong way. Front Row Racing World Championship at Monza, round 12. I am proper turning.
On back to front.
I tell you what, I am proper turning into Murray Walker, or my own version of Murray, and I don't do this deliberately either. Right, I'm just going to remind the viewers or anyone that started late. Go on. Yeah, what have I had?
I want some.
At the moment, I've had a sip of coffee and it wasn't even very strong and it was cold because I made it about an hour ago. But the cars are on the grid. The grid girls have gone. We've left with the camera crews and the mechanics, or I should say engineers. The race strategy. Oh yes, we are going to have to be careful of that. Thank you for reminding us. Looking at this strategy, it does say a 2-stopper. Just want to remind the viewers on YouTube, we do have a question of the day, and the question of the day is, if you could add a race circuit to the F1 race calendar that is not currently in use, any circuit at all, which one would you add and why? We've had some interesting people already mention them. We'll come and read them out at some point during the event. But the lights are on. We've got 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, and they are away. And I've just hit the wall. And they all head down into turn 1, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be about 4 wide. Kev 187 10th here, Bartman up to 3rd place. Good start for him, and I'm on board with Overdijking, and he's been hit by a Red Bull.
This is GT5 King looks like he cut the first corner and crashed into a few cars there.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
And I think it might have been Overdyking that he may have taken out, unfortunately. But Overdyking's currently running in 6th place. Let's have a look what happened to GT5 King and where it is and where it's affected him. It's not letting me get on board with him.
We've got
There we are.
Jason and Konza, 3 wide coming into the second chicane.
We have. And unfortunately, Mornay's gone what? And Konzo's just been able to retake that position. Now, after that collision at turn 1, GT5 King did end up all the way down in 13th place, and 13th place is the back of the field. But let's jump back to the front and see who is running at the front. And as is Temp Fear is taking Kev. Unfortunately, we missed it while I was watching the kerfuffle at the rear. So Temp Fear.
Konzo's going for a move. Ascari, oh, he's collected, he's chasing a wee bit. Oh, I think he's trying to wait, but he's got his teammate behind him as he's slowing him down. Yeah, I think he's letting his teammate go so he can slowly slow down to let Yasin through.
We've got, just going to butt in there, we've got the Red Bulls side by side going towards turn 1. It looks like it's hammer time. He's decided to sit behind his teammate. He had the move almost done, and but now he's hit his teammate up the rear and he's lost the position. Not lost the position, he's lost time there. It was almost as if he decided, you know what, I'm going to not attack him, I'm going to sit behind him. And Bartman's braking just caught him out a little bit, which will have put him under absolute complete pressure from Overdyking in 5th place. But I'm just wondering, in all of this, where is Front Row Racing DP?
In 9th place.
What is Front Row Racing DP doing down in 9th place? Was that something to do with the turn 1 incident with GT5 King? Good point. And we're on board though, still with It's Hammer Time, who is being attacked by the 2 Ferraris that are both looking very quick. And Jamie James is very close to back.
Going for a move on Danev, down into Sakari. He's on the outside, he's given Danev the inside line, he's gone right round outside and he's done it. Oh, brave move.
Just while you were saying that, I was just watching for Jamie James and It's Hammer Time. We're on board with It's Hammer Time. Jamie James and his teammate Overdyking getting very close together. And I thought that Jamie James was about to go for the overtake on the exit of Ascari as you were talking about the entrance of Ascari with DP. So DP looks like he is getting the hammer down, but Dan Evs has got the slipstream. He won't have the DRS as yet, even though the DRS is active this lap, and he's going for the move down on the inside, and DP is going to be thinking, don't do it, Dan, don't do it, Dan. I know what you like. I've practiced with you around here, and I don't like it. But DP still holds that 7th position. Is he going to keep it? Approaching, I say approaching, they're going round the Curva Grande, approaching the 2nd chicane. DP holds that position nicely.
You can see how the slipstream comes into effect. Oh, Hammer Time's get lag. I thought he was off. No, it's a bit of lag. He was away into the gravel and then he jumped back on track. He's got that kangaroo petrol again.
He has, hasn't he? And just noticing that Front Racing DP has got the hammer down and he is starting to open up a gap from Danev. So we're going to leave them to it for the moment. We're going to head back to the front to see the gap between Kev 187 and it's Temp Fear up at the front, and the gap is 1.6 seconds. So Kev is out of DRS range on lap 3. So even though the DRS is active, he won't be able to use it.
We'll have GT5 King and Killer Cockin down the start finish straight in a minute. I think they'll be battling for that turn 1. They're quite close together coming around.
They are. They're extremely close together, aren't they?
Dom's making a move on Hammer Time and going to try and take Bartman into turn 1 from DRS and slipstream with both cars, and he makes it into turn 1 in front of Bartman. Bartman's trying to fight back into turn 2. Dom's just got his nose ahead and keeps 3rd position.
Dom, and as you were talking about Dom, GT5 King's got the move done over Killer Corkin before the corner even started. Killer Corkin wagging his tail on the exit of the corner. I would say it was a bit skitterish, but it was a bit more than skitterish. So who's going to be the next cars to be in close together? I'll tell you what, the 2 Ferraris were looking extremely close earlier on, but it looks like Overdyking has been able to deal with those Red Bulls and leave Jamie James in his wake a little bit. Overdyking couldn't run this, but Overdyking has got a car overtaking him. Sparkman into a Ascari. Nice move if he can keep it stuck to the road. How is he on the exit? Because he could be compromised. Overdyking's looking at tucking back up the inside, I think, but he would seriously be better off. And say seriously be better off waiting for the DRS, but he's going to get overtaken by the other Red Bull if he's not careful. You mentioned something about Killer.
He's back ahead. No, that's Console, sorry. My apologies, I thought it was because the McLarens are so close together.
Bartman, Overdyking, side by side, turn 1. This could be interesting with the Red Bull right behind. Overdyking is still ahead. It's one of the circuits where the slipstream is that strong. You could spend 4 or 5 laps just following the car ahead on a lower fuel mix. They're using more fuel than you. You're saving fuel. Then when you've got some clean air, you've got fuel to burn. So this is the sort of thing that I think these Red Bulls have been considering, because on a couple of occasions there, it did look like that they could have gone for it, but they decided to just sit, wait, try and keep it tidy. And they showed the signs of that when It's Hammer Time was following Bartman in the early stages. I didn't say early stages, we're only on lap 5, but the earlier lap when he just touched him up the rear when he was just going to stay behind him anyway. So thinking about strategies and pit stops, we're on lap 5. If it was a 2-stop strategy, Adam, any idea what sort of lap times you're expecting cars in down there at the lap times or lap number we're expecting cars in at the pits?
If they're starting on the options, possibly lap 7, 8.
Yeah.
Would probably be a good shot at the options. If you're starting on the primes, maybe 11, 12.
Do you know what? You've just made a good point there, and I haven't checked yet through the cars who has started on options and who has started on primes. Now, everyone that would have qualified on the options,
go through it.
Yeah, the ones that qualified on the options had to stay on them, but carry on.
Money and Jamie James are on the primes. Everybody else seems to be options. Oh, we've got Keller Cockin in the pits. He's pitted.
So there we go, he's got rid of his tyres early on. And Bartman's made a move on Overdyking, and now he's trying to hang Overdyking out around the outside of Curva Grande, but Overdyking's got hang him out around the outside of the outside, but Overdyking's got the move done into Della Roggia chicane. But this will explain why Overdyking was able to leave Jamie James behind, because Jamie James is running those prime tyres. But tell you what, for Jamie,
not that far behind.
He's not. He has got DP catching him up. And this is one of those strange circuits where the delta time between the two tyres I believe to be only about 7/10. So it's not that much at all. And if you're following a car that's on option tyres and you're on the prime, we've lost Overdyking. And I do believe
still going. Oh no, it's ghosted now.
Okay, that is unfortunate. His car has pulled out of the way. We do have a technical issue with the Ferrari. So this could actually, if Jamie James can get to the end of this race, Jamie James could... we've got cars going for the pits. Yep, so looking down into the...
Kev 187's made a pass and he's in first place now.
DP's pitted.
Now we have noticed in practice session that there is a bit of a lag issue with the pit lane, and also something else we've noticed with the pit lane here is the Marussia.
Ahead of DP.
Yep, that's exactly what I was about to say. Has he? Because there's the lag issue. No, it's now showing you Danev's behind. Yep. the Marussia. The Mode Red Mana Marussia pit crew here have been incredibly slow, and we have noticed in practice where cars have pitted behind and come out ahead. Now it did look like that was going to happen on this occasion, but Danevs is still behind. So DP pits on lap 6. I'll be probably looking to do about a 10-lap stint on these prime tyres. So while we've just got these first lot of cars enter the pits up at the front.
First and second, sorry, that's what I was going to say. Tempfier's still hanging on dead close to Kev.
Well, last time we looked at these two, it was Tempfier that was in first and Kev that was in second place, so they have switched positions at some point. So this could be that point in time where the... Did he? I wasn't listening. Sorry, Adam.
Pitting and Kev and Tempfier pitting at the same time. Dom lost connection.
Yeah. Right, so this is where it's crucial for the Marussia crew to get that car turned around and out as quick as possible with having a car go in the pit so close behind. On my screen is still following him, so I think they may have got away with it on that occasion. But we do have Killer Corkin going past down the start-finish straight. Oh, they've all been... No, 10th Fear has got him. You are right. That's it. That's what can happen to the Marussia crew. Unfortunately, their pit crew is not up to speed with some of the teams.
That far down the first pit crew, then any car coming up behind them, they can't release them because
That's right.
It's an unsafe release.
So, is it gonna backfire?
Next time.
Yeah, I mean, this season, the team of Kev 187 and Front Racing DP had the first choice of what car to pick, and they couldn't decide, so they put names of a few teams in a hat and picked one out and got Marussia. I think there's only 3 names that were in the hat, but yeah, it's one of those situations where they were quite happy to be in the Marussia, but now, partway through the season, just over halfway, they've realised what sort of effect it can have on your races when another car follows you into the pits quite closely. It makes it that little bit harder for them, but I can tell you they'll both be up for the challenge, as annoying as it is. If they beat someone that jumps them in the pits, they'll go, well, you jumped me in the pits and I still beat you. Question of the day. Adam, any responses on YouTube?
Yeah, just like to add that Dom got disconnected, which is pretty sad since he was showing a bit of good pace there. So we've got people wanting Imola and Estoril.
Yeah, good circuits.
And we'll just scroll through the comments.
Well, while you're scrolling through the comments, I'm going to say something controversial, and I want to know what the viewers' views are on this, because it's something that I think would make Formula 1 or take Formula 1 to that extra level. Some people will be against what I'm going to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. F1 should do at least one oval, whether it's Daytona or Indianapolis or even in this country Rockingham. Just have one oval race with a rolling start, like a bit like NASCAR style, yeah, but you know, on an oval, and just go for it. And okay, 10th Fear breaks late. He's gone off.
That looked like it was. Let me just see who it was.
There's front. Jason up there and Kev 187, and Jason is still running on old tyres.
Yarson kind of looked like he braked a bit too late, which caught 10th Fear out, and 10th Fear had to take to the gravel, and it allowed Kev 187 through.
So that could be the difference between winning and losing this race, and unfortunate there, but that's the way it goes sometimes.
Killer Corkin lost at the second Lesmo.
He did, but what I have just noticed is one of the drivers that hasn't pitted yet, who started at the back of the grid, who had his qualifying ban, who could quite possibly be trying to stretch these primes out for a one-stop strategy, is Jammy James 16. One thing we've not actually spoke about, because the skies are absolutely crystal blue, is weather. Whether the weather will change. Now, there's somebody that hopefully is watching in that can give us comment on that, and that is Overdykink and his engineers down there. Whether they had any weather reports at the start of the race to tell us whether it was going to be dry throughout or possible weather changes. It'd be interesting to know. But also, I want to know what people think about F1 circuits, or one of them being an oval. Go on, Adam.
Yeah, we've got a comment on that, Steve. Yeah, we've got going back to what track people would like. Got Magny-Cours, Donington Park, and Driver Montana says having an oval F1 is a bad idea.
That'd be boring.
I agree, it would be boring.
But think about it for those drivers that always make mistakes at corners. They've only got to remember left, left, left. It's like, Adam, what did you say about Suzuka in Sector 1? You can't remember what corners goes where. So you just have to go left, left.
He's got for a move on Jason, he's got it. Done and dusted into turn 1.
Or Jeff's tyres now will be also getting worn as well.
But even at that, the car at front won't have to put as much downforce on as the car behind, because he won't be in dirty air, so... Oh, Hammer Time get past Jason nicely there. Now it's DP's turn to try and get past him. Is he going to do it into the Lesmo? Yep, he's... Well, I need to keep up with these guys. I need to get on. I need to catch my teammate. Where is his teammate? He's in second place still.
Yep, Jammy James is still going round. I tell you what, if Adam, let us know when Jammy James makes that pit stop, when you see him heading down into that pit lane, because depending on when he makes that pit stop could determine whether he's making that one stop.
He's pitting. Lap 11 pitting.
Okay, I would say then lap 11 that's going to make it a two-stopper, because I can't see him doing 16 laps on the option tyres. I tried doing as many laps as I could on them yesterday and they went pop on lap 15, so it's stretching.
Let us know what tyres he comes out on if he does that. I know he can only do.
He's on the option.
Yeah, so he's probably going to go for a double option stint now. He's done his primes, so he's coming out though, right?
Oh, it's coming! Oh, that's close. Batman and Dan Evs.
And Jammy James right out the pit lane, in between them, almost in between them. Yeah, that was getting very close. I was just trying to change to watch that, and we saw it happening in the background as Jammy James was leaving the pit lane. So Jammy James has probably got one more pit stop to do, but he's on fresh tyres now when everyone else pitted quite a handful of laps ago. So Jammy James currently running in 8th place, but in what I would call it quite a strong position, really.
It's only 9 seconds behind, so
yeah, he is. And
tyres, yes.
You should say that Jammy James here should be aiming for a podium with the drivers that's got ahead of him. You know, he can do this, and I think if we stick on board with this group of cars, it's going to get very interesting over these next few laps, because we've got Jammy James on the options with ahead of him Dan Evs on prime, so Jammy James will have, and they are fresh options as well. We've got Jason running around on old tyres. Yeah, Jason hasn't pitted yet, I believe. He's still running around on the old options that he started on.
Oh, Jammy James got a good drive out that corner. Jason's not going for the pits. It's going to be free wide down to turn 1. Jammy James is thinking better of it. I think he's just hanging back.
Surely Jason can't still be on the same tyres that he started the race on. But Adam, if you go to the race director, you'll be able to let us know. Oh, there we go. That might be the old tyres. Are the old tyres, or has he done a pit stop? Adam, if you look on the race director, it should tell you whether he's pitted or not, and he might just be wondering whether he should have pitted on that lap if they are.
Up at the front we have Temp here, and it's Hammer Time battling here at the Lesmos, and it's bringing along DP. So
yeah, Yarson has not pitted.
So he's done 13 laps. He'll be running to the end of the lap 13. There's a helicopter going backwards then. Yeah, 13 laps. He'll be looking to probably pit at the end of this lap or the next to try and squeeze in that one stop, but that spin will have just scuppered his plans a little bit there. But I think he's committed now to that one stop. Hammer Time and... Oh, I thought I was going to get close. I was just about to say Temp Fear, but they got very close together as they were approaching that corner. I think they have just enough room. DP, though, is sat there with Slipstream, and he's probably just biding his time. And
James got a decent drive out Parabolica behind Dan Evs going down the start-finish straight.
He has. Oh, they're close together then.
Oh, he's going to outbrake. So Bartman's had a little incident going into the first turn. It looked like he locked up a little bit.
Now this is a pair of drivers that we know have had a few comings together. Think about Lewis Hamilton and Felipe Massa a few seasons ago. Well, that's Jammy James and Dan Evs of last season, and these two will be wanting to keep away from each other, and let's just hope that they do. And looking at the tyres, yeah, we've mentioned it already, Jammy James is on the fresher tyres. He's also on the option tyres compared to Dan Evs on the prime. So that move has been done. He should start to pull away from that car. The car ahead of him, it's Hammer Time. He should be closing in. So Yarson has pitted. If you let us know if he goes on to the prime, because if he puts them primes on, he will. That's it then. He'll be looking to run at the end. Run to the end on those prime tyres. I wonder where he'll be coming out and who will be battling towards the end of this race. It's going to be very interesting.
He's going for a move on at Hammer Time. He's got it done before the Parabolica, and we've got still sitting there. He's not really doing anything. He just seems to be
might be saving a bit of fuel. Hammer Time's gone for the pit lane.
Hammer Time's in the pits. Yep.
So DP, has he been sat there saving fuel? Because it's you can save a lot of fuel from just sitting behind a car, and the car, like I said, the car ahead punches a big hole in the air and has to use a bit more fuel than you. If you can sit in his slipstream, you can run that lower fuel mix.
Fresh set of options for its hammer time.
So can he go to the end there with those options? There is a possibility, but we shall see.
There's a wee battle on at the back by Money and Killer Corkin. The switching positions in each straight they get. So they're having a good wee battle, given...
There's contact though!
Plenty around to each other, but he's just rear-ended them.
Yeah, well, I think
Conzo's just pitted. He was on the prime tyres, just gone back onto the prime tyres, but also a nose change as well.
Oh, so he's had an incident at some point, but he's thinking then that putting the primes on again now will take him all the way to the end. But I think he might have been able to stretch out some options to the end at this point. Just looking up at the front.
The hammer down. He's just right behind 10th Fear in second place. He's got the hammer down in that last lap. He's seen hammer time pat, and he's went, I'm not hanging about anymore, let's go.
Oh, 10th Fear's run wide.
Oh, 10th Fear, sorry.
Yeah. And DP's going to have the DRS. He's already got the move done. He's got, like you say, he's got the hammer down. Now, if he has been sat there on that lean fuel mix, he's got time now to run as much rich as he wants, and he could be on an in lap. That's why he's got the hammer down. Like you say, the car ahead of him pitted on that previous lap, so he doesn't want to get undercut, but it looks like the car that pitted could get a 2-lap undercut on him, but he's going to want those option tyres at the end of this race to be as good as possible. And it's just going to depend on when these two cars do decide to hit the pit lane. Also, one thing we need to consider around here is it likes to hand out a lot of warnings for the exceeding track limits, and one of the things we noticed in practice was drivers getting disqualified for too many warnings. They weren't getting many penalties, but they were getting handed disqualifications. Obviously there were a couple of penalties here and there. I'm not going to say I got one or not, but I didn't like it when he gave it me. No, I did not. To be honest with you, I must admit I was the only driver on Monday not to get a penalty apart from Kev 187. No, sorry, not Kev. DP and K-Slay, my teammate. DP, K-Slay and me were the only one on Monday FRR practice to not get a penalty. So there we are.
I can't remember.
I think you got disqualified. No, you didn't. No, sorry, I'll take that back. But I tell you what, DP's pulled that gap out, and I would have thought he'd have pitted, but maybe he's looking at doing a short stint at the end. He's probably feeling very comfortable on these primes and making them last. But where is Jamie James?
Hanging them out to dry. Jamie James is down in 4th place. He's overtook Batman and was behind Batman, I'm sure. Oh, they were battling, sorry. And,
now, I'm tipping Jamie James at this point for the podium position, because I think he's in what we call the prime position, but he's actually in an option position because he's going to be running options to the end. He's got one more pit stop to do, I believe, so he'll be running short stints on these option tyres. So yeah, it looks like he is in a good place, and ahead of him, sorry, not ahead of him, yes, ahead of him is 10th Fear and DP, who are running on the primes still. So Jamie James could be catching these two up currently.
Just checking the race director, quite a few warnings going out, and it looked like front row racing DP got a warning on the first lap with contact with his teammate, which must have put DP down in 9th, I think. But you got two cars with one car's got a 3-second penalty.
DP's in. DP's in. So you were telling me about the penalty, sorry, carry on.
Yeah, it's Hamilton's got a 3-second penalty, and Bartman's got a 5-second penalty coming at the end of the race.
So there we go, there's two drivers. So if they've got any drivers near them or around them, they will be aware that they've got to either close in a gap or stretch a gap out or whatever it is they need to do. So DP has pitted. 10th Fear now running in 2nd place. Could 10th Fear be going to the end on these prime tyres? I don't think he'll have the pace to do it. I think DP should be looking to catch him up quite quickly, to be honest with you, with the fresh option tyres at this stage of the race. We also need to know Kev 187, surely he's going to be considering a pit stop, or has he already done one? No, he's still running the prime tyres, unless he's doing 2 prime stints. But if he'd have pitted, surely he would have been behind Temp Fear at this point. So he hasn't pitted yet. Just going to keep on board, or keep watching Kev 187 as he heads towards the Parabolica, because I do believe he's likely to be pitting this time. I just want to try and confirm that, and then we'll go to Adam to let us know what tyres he does put on. So Kev 187 comes around the Parabolica and heads into the pit lane. So we'll leave Kev all alone, and we'll keep an eye on Temp Fear, who's currently running in that second place with a Ferrari behind him. Temp Fear, and he's headed into the pit. So there you go, you've got a pit battle down there, Adam, with the two
Kev
fronts.
Put the options on.
Yeah. So he'll be going to the end on the options. So we're back in a position where Jamie James is leading the race, as he was earlier on before his first pit stop. So he will now be wanting to open up that prancing horse, use all those cylinders and the batteries. I'm just trying to think of...
Temp Fear's also got the options on, so he's got a good fight to the end. He's got the best set of tyres on for the challenge.
Yeah.
And Batman, into turn 1, Dan Edge has took the place on Batman. Is he going to slow it down in time? Yep. And he makes a just nicely.
Good, nice clean stuff there from the pair of them. I'm just wondering, Jamie James, how much he was able to catch up and how much he's able to benefit at this point in the race while he's on those option tyres when the others were on the primes. Obviously he's going to be...
Second gap.
It is...
Would you pick now?
Well,
before their tyres get into that optimal range, and they start putting in the fastest lap time.
If you were to work out how many laps the options are...
8 seconds now.
Yeah, he needs to pit this lap then. But what I was going to say was...
He's in.
Yeah. I mean, there's 8 laps to go from where he is on the circuit. We've got contact between Dan Evs and Bartman at Ascari. I say contact, I don't know whether it was Bartman that just locked up, but is it GT5 King that's come up behind him? Yeah. It is GT5 King that's come up behind Bartman. It looked like there may have been contact, or it may have been Bartman just locking up. So Front Row Racing DP sets the lap time of a 1:21.9. And Adam, what was last season's fastest lap?
Yep, just get that. Jamie James coming out on a fresh set of options, so he's got a bit. He's going to try and take the fight to the front runners. Last season's lap record was 1:21.664.
1:21.664. So the driver's got a bit more to go, but we did just see on the screen Bartman's been disqualified. Now we did see him in an incident. Now we don't know whether that incident was his fault, or whether returning to the circuit disqualified him, or whether there was something else. But unfortunately, we did see disqualification for Bartman. So, from the Racing DP,
yep, that's why he got disqualified.
Yeah. So Bartman has left the session. He's left the circuit. He's took his crash helmet with him. Oh dear me. Well, if Bartman does decide to watch the live stream, wants to give us a comment on why he got disqualified, he probably won't want to say. But if he does wish to comment, then please do. So Front of the Racing
I can answer that for you.
Go on then.
He's been getting 3-second penalties for corner cutting and multiple warnings, so that's probably added up, and the race director's had enough.
Yeah, so if it is like that, then... Okay, so it's Hammertine's pitting. That's going to put him quite a long way behind Front Racing DP, because DP's already pitted, and DP is in second place. Yep. And I'm just thinking about what DP has been able to do so far in this race. He had the incident at turn 1. We don't know whose fault or what happened. All we know was he ended up in 9th place. But he's come back from 9th place to be in 2nd place. He's on good tyres now. There's no reason why he shouldn't be able to hold that place and take it to the end. There we see Killer Corkin just moving that nicely out of the way for Front Racing DP. Temp Fear is in the background. What we'll do is we'll jump on board with Temp Fear, and we'll just keep an eye on that gap between Temp Fear and the leader, and also on the gap between DP and the leader, and it should give us some idea between what's happening. And we just caught a quick glimpse of Jamie James in the background. His tyres, I believe, are 2 laps fresher, and so they could quite easily on the last couple of laps of this race catch up significantly to the cars ahead. But would it be enough?
What, that 15-second gap 16, he's losing time, so I
Oh.
think he's got it in him. He's losing time, he was 15, he's now 16, so could be losing time.
I don't want to give anybody a curse, but
I'm sure Dom and I don't know who's their engineer this week, if it's Sam or if it's is it Elise Rotochip. If they could let us know what they feel, if the Ferraris could catch up, that Ferrari, so we won in the race, sorry,
Well,
if he could catch up.
well, this is Monza, so I wouldn't be surprised if we've got Italian stewards this weekend, and the front three will get disqualified and Jamie James will win. Controversial. Tempfear 12.4 seconds behind the leader, which is Kev 187. DP 9.2 behind the leader. He was 8.9, so he has dropped off from the leader a little bit. So I'm just wondering whether that's just a mixture of fuel. Oh no, there we go, it's just caught back up again. It might just be what sector favours what drivers, because DP's just put it back to 8.6 seconds. Tempfear 11.7 seconds. So Tempfear just struggling just a fraction to keep to the back of DP at the moment. But if I'm right in saying Tempfear pitted after front row racing DP, so his tyres I think are 1 lap fresher. Tempfear's just set the fastest lap of 1:21.8, still just a couple of tenths shy of the front row racing race lap record. But I said Tempfear was dropping off, and there we go, he goes and sets the fastest lap of the race so far. So 11.4 off the lead. And what is front row racing DP? 8.5. So they're probably just matching each other there a little bit. Ray, how does Kev 187 look like he's doing up there at the front?
He seems quite confident, as I can see. Getting the power down when he needs to, he's braking as late as he can, keeping it in between the white lines, so...
I mean, this is a driver that for the last 3 races has hardly done any practice at all, but we need to bear in mind he is a 3-time front row racing world championship champion, and looks like he's in a strong position to be pushing for it to be a 4th-time champion. And
again, God, sorry, I'm watching front row from DP, and the entries into the parabolic on 2 laps cut it really early, going onto the grass, and then the Lesmos as well.
so DP taking a little bit too much. I'm sure now you've said that there'll be certain people listening that'll go, oh, what lap was that? Let me look back at the footage.
I think it's because Tempfear is catching front row racing DP up, putting a bit of pressure on him.
Quite possibly. Let's jump back on view. So DP has stuck around the 8.7 seconds mark behind the leader, his teammate, and Tempfear 11.7. So they're all thereabouts. Oh, there we go. Tempfear's just taken a few more tenths out. Tempfear has definitely got the hammer down. Now I'm just wondering if, you know, if you were, well, let me put this question to both of you, starting with Ray. If you were DP in this position, do you just balance that gap between your teammate ahead and the guy behind? When he pushes, you push a bit harder, or do you just push all the way? What would you do, Ray?
At lap 24 of 27, and I'm the chance to get down to DP's time, 8 seconds of it.
Yeah.
I would just balance the gap to the car behind.
So that's quite possible what he may be doing. Adam, what would you do in the situation?
I'd probably attack. There's what, a 3-second gap between front row racing DP and Tempfear, and there's an 8-second gap between DP and Kev. But I'd attack. Might as well, because you never know what's going to happen. First place may have a little bit of a dodgy corner, and you can gain a few seconds.
Also, it's a good point that you've mentioned that. If it was me, if this was normal of Formula 1, yeah, not a game, if this was normal of Formula 1, you probably would balance that gap. You think, don't give my teammate too much of a challenge, just make sure I stay ahead of the car behind, push when I need to. But with this being the Codemasters game, with it being set to strict rules, there's a possibility that DP might have a penalty, and if it's 3 seconds or 5 seconds or 6 seconds, he might need to stretch that gap out. He might be having to put the hammer down, but he can't stretch that gap out anymore. Temp Fear might be getting messages over his radio that certain people around him have got penalties. I mean, he might be thinking, well, if I just get within a certain distance of DP, if he's got a penalty, I might be able to beat him. So with it being Codemasters F1 2015, anything can happen, and you know what, it usually does. So we're on lap 25. Kev 187 is going round onto lap 26. So the front three look like they are reasonably comfortable at the moment. In fourth place we've got Jamie James. Now I tipped him for the podium early on, so with 2 laps to go,
keep an eye on him, because Tempfields went 12 seconds behind the leader and Johnny James is only 17. He's went up. He must have had a problem that lap. He's went up a second.
yeah.
They were close. He was about 4 seconds. I thought he was going to push it and maybe get it kicking out there.
Yeah, at this point, Jamie James has got the freshest tyres. He should be setting the quicker laps out of those front 4. So there is that possibility, and if it's going to happen, it's got to happen this lap and next lap, because there's only 2 laps to go. So Jamie James in 4th place. In 5th place is Dan Evs, doing nicely there. Did see him having with a bit of an incident earlier on. Well, it seemed like he may have had a bit of contact with Bartman. I'm sure that will be something that the race directors and stewards will be wanting to have a look at it after the event. GT5 King currently running in 6th place. Not seen much of him apart from hearing about a first corner. And then we've got It's Hammer Time running in 7th place. He's quite close to the back of GT5 King, and It's Hammer Time is going to want to get that move done. So that's something. Adam, no, you're down in the pit lane. You can't quite see this at the moment. Ray, if you keep an eye on It's Hammer Time and GT5 King, because I want to just quickly go through the rest of this order before Kev gets round to the finish line. So GT5 King 6th, Hammer Time 7th. Let us know if there's an overtake going. Jason in 8th place, and his tyres are looking awful at the moment. Konzo in 9th place. Mornay in 10th place. He's got DP just ahead of him. Killer Corkin in 11th. Who was 10th? Sorry, Mornay in 10th place. Killer Corkin in 11th. Then we're back to Kev 187, who is currently leading the race with a comfortable 10.5 second gap over DP. I'm wondering if that gap has opened up a little bit, because the gap to Temp Fear has opened up, and it has. So I think what's happened there is Kev 187 has kept the hammer down, because he only knows one way, and that is flat out. I'm running out of ways to explain Kev 187 and how he races, other than Nico Rosbot comes to mind. Nico, do you not know Nico Rosbot? You need to be. Well, for the YouTubers that are watching YouTube, what you need to do once you've finished, forgot to get Kev over the line, but we're going to have his teammate went over the line. Nico Rosbot has won the race. Kev 187, well done. He's won it on the day. His teammate DP, second place, 10th here, third.
Right up the behind GT5 King coming
he
up
is.
to Parabolica. Is he going to get moved? I think GT5 King's got it in him to keep it ahead of It's Hammer Time 44. Hammer Time going for a tighter line, try to get the slipstream, and
it's not going to happen. GT5 King will be happy with that position. Jason currently the next car to cross the line, I believe, in 8th place. Anybody that's watching this, if you have not heard of Nico Rosbot, once you've watched this and you've listened to our podium interviews, which we'll be doing shortly, please just have a look for Nico Rosbot on YouTube, and you'll understand what I mean when I say Kev is like Nico Rosbot. So YouTubers, I'm going to ask you, Adam, if you want to say what the YouTubers can do at this point, that'd be great.
Yeah, gonna get them to see if they can send their questions in for the podium's top 3.
Yep, so there we go with Mana Marusha 1 and 2 on the podium. Jason has left the session. He may not have been too happy with that, but Kev 187, I believe that to be Kev 187, unless he was handed loads of penalties at the end there. Kev 187 takes the victory from pole to the top step of the podium with DP in second, Tempfear in third, and they are currently the top 3 in the World Championship. So there we go, penalties. Looking at Tempfear had a 3-second penalty, unfortunate for him. Maybe that's why he dropped off a little bit. Jamie James there in 4th place, Danev's 5th, GT5 King in 6th, I nearly said Tempfear again. It's Hammer Time in 7th, Jason in 8th, Konzo in 9th. Then the lap down drivers was Mornay and Killer Corkin. Yes, Jason there in 8th place. I just thought I didn't see him then, but I've already read his name out. My brain is going absolutely to pot. So, Ray, if you could invite those top 3 drivers into the podium interviews, that would be great. And like Adam has already just said, anybody that's watching wants to ask the top 3 a question on the podium, post your question, and we shall see if we can get it asked, as long as it's relevant.
I tell you what, I think Yarson gets a special mention. 8th position on a 1-stopper. That's quite impressive.
Yeah, he does enjoy doing that. He likes the challenge, and I'm not saying he shouldn't do it, but when you think about what he could have done if he hadn't have had that spin, that, you know, he had an incident on lap 13, that could have been another couple of places. So yeah, very good mention there on that one. So I've just seen 2 drivers join us in the chat room there. Do we have Tempfear?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, so we'll come to that in a moment. So while we're just waiting for Tempfear, there he is. So podium drivers, if you could make sure you've got your microphones plugged in for a start, set to always allowed and shared, and your microphones turned up nice and loud and clear. Also like to remind you, please try and keep it clean, Kev. Before we go to the questions on the podium and talk to the drivers, if there's any drivers that are listening to these interviews now, if you want to post your comments and let us know how your race went, please do that on the YouTube chat, and Adam might be able to get to those and read those out once we've done the podium questions. So, Kev 187 takes the victory again when you have hardly any practice. How do you do it?
I had a bit more in the last few weeks.
No, but you do so well when you have no practice. How do you do it? Do you practice in private without telling anyone?
No, that's 100% no.
So it's not that you've been telling Dave that, oh, I'm busy at work, I'm tired, I can't practice. It's
No, yeah, I don't. I only practice for you of an evening. That's it.
Yeah,
He treats the streets of Manchester as a racetrack in his van.
Yeah,
he does.
The VW.
Have you managed to attach your G27 wheel to your van yet?
No.
I could just imagine you doing that. But anyway, I must say though, you set the pole time. It wasn't into the 19s, which I think you and DP were expecting to be hitting. But were you pleased to be? Obviously, you're going to be pleased to be hitting pole. But was you surprised?
I like to get pole.
Was you surprised it was you got pole with a 20 though? Not in the 19s. Did you think there was somebody else that were going to get it?
20.066, I think it was. Not far off, but I don't know. Everyone's a bit more careful, aren't they, when it actually comes down to it? So, I mean, we always say we're always slower. I think the only time we'd actually gone faster was Spa last season when I did a 45.1, and me and Dave were just like, "Whoa, fucking hell!" Oh, sorry, I mean fudge.
Yeah.
I think that's the only time we've ever beaten our practice time.
Yeah.
We always go slower. But anyway.
And if there's anywhere where we said last week, if there was anywhere you didn't want to be on pole, it was Spa because of the long straights. But how does it feel sitting on pole going towards that turn 1 at Monza?
Scary with Rian behind you.
Okay, so we didn't quite catch what happened, other than we know that Rian waited for a lot of cars to go past. So
yeah, I hate turn 1 at Monza because there's always an incident. So I always just go around the outside and try and stay out of the way. And I managed to. Well, no, I think I did. I had to I had to cut the corner to because I got pushed by someone.
There you go, Dom. Check for the corner cut. Right. Right. Yeah. So I think
it's not
for
nice
quite.
turn one at Monza.
No, I'm trying to think back to when the last time was you had a Monza with a clean, when you yourself had a clean first corner, and I don't think you have in the past. I think this is probably one of your first ones. So
I think last season the airborne one, or was that the season before?
No,
it was the season before.
Years ago. I think the only one that you have had was where you went into turn one and you heard a load of screeching, so you just went straight on.
You decided to.
That's an option.
Yeah.
I still have footage actually on my other YouTube channel of that, but I should show people that at some point. Kev getting scared of Justin Bieber fans chasing him. Right, so Kev, yeah, I mean, after turn one, it looked quite plain and simple once you dealt with Temp Fear. Any concerns throughout the rest of the race?
No, I think unfortunately, he kind of dealt with himself, because I think he thought Jason was back marker, and he wasn't. So, he had a bit of an incident with him, which did really help. And obviously Dave was in traffic, so that helped. I think it would have been a lot closer, to be honest, if it was a clean race or such.
Yeah, we did.
I don't think I would have walked away with it like I did if it was, me, Dave, and Temp, and perhaps Hamilton. Maybe Dom up the front in clear air, I don't know. But
yeah. We did see a bit of contact between Jason and Temp Fear, so that may be something that gets looked into. But Jason at that point was doing really well. He managed to do a one-stopper, the only driver I believe that did do the one-stopper, but he did well there. We had a special mention of him just at the end of the race. So we'll come back to you in a moment, Kev. Move on to your teammate, Front Row Racing DP. Hello. Would you say that this has kind of put you right back in it for the title?
Kind of. Only if the result stays as it is, I've only gained on Temp by 3 points. So possibly it's a few more points than him. That's all I can do, really.
So when you look at the league standings, do you always look up, not down?
Yeah, who's on the top? How far behind am I? How many points do I need to gain on them?
Yeah, doesn't matter who's behind you.
Focus on, really.
Yeah, nice way of doing it. Unless you're on top, then there's nowhere to look. But anyway, I want to know your views on turn one, and obviously you were put down to about 9th place. So obviously you were caught up in that incident in turn one.
No, not in turn one. What happened at turn one? There was a lot of lag heading down into that first corner. I know we've seen jump starts before, and I think a couple of cars got a jump start on me. Either that or they just got really good starts, but there was definitely a bit of lag. And then I saw a McLaren missile wipe out a few cars. I managed to avoid all that, and I think I was in about third place, I think it was. So I was behind Kev, and it was going into the parabolica. I think I just didn't brake as much as I should have done. Hit the back of him and spun, so I lost it at the parabolica at the end of the first lap, which, like I said, put me down about 9th place.
Yeah, that was rather unfortunate, but what a comeback from 9th to 2nd. Obviously it was helped a little bit by certain events that happened during the race. Unfortunately for one of the Ferraris, they had a bit of a technical issue, which meant they had to retire the car. But we did see some great overtakes, especially at Ascari. Last season, I remember, if I remember rightly, you had an incident with one of the drivers in Ascari. This season, you seem to have to keep it. I shouldn't say seem. Your overtakes. Is Ascari one of the places you prefer to overtake at Monza? No.
I think overtaking at Monza. It doesn't matter if you're on the outside. If you haven't practiced being on the outside and giving room on the inside, you're in the gravel. And if you go overtaking up the inside and you haven't practiced it, you're going straight on, you're hitting the car, you both ended up in the gravel. So, no, I hate overtaking through there. I think it might have been Dan Evs, or side by side with
Bart.
Was it Bartman, was it? All right. There was someone I was kind of side by side with, and it's a horrible corner because you have to slow down so much to be able to keep it on the road and give the space that you just think, I'm going to get mugged here. But yeah, you can do it, but no. I mean, really, you don't really want to overtake in a Scari. You might as well wait down this long straight and then overtake on the start-finish. It's like when I caught Temp Fear up, I got DRS like in the back straight. I was like, okay, put it into lean. Caught him up quicker than I wanted. Right, lift off. Caught him up down. Did second back straight. Right, keep it in lean. Lift off. And then when I put it into Rich, he ran wide and I just drove past. So he made that one kind of easy. But yeah, you might as well just go for it. You might as well just go for it down the stop finish.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm happy with the result. Other than without that spin, I'd have been closer to Kevin. Could have made a fight of it.
Yeah, and Kev might have been able to give you a position back that you've had to give him in previous races, but that's another story.
No, to be fair, we only do that when we're on completely different strategies.
Yeah.
Okay.
So other than the lap one and the overtake that you just mentioned, any other parts of that race were a bit of an issue for you, or was it just, concentrate, keep an eye on the fuel, keep pushing when I need to push? I was just talking actually towards the end of the race whether you would be attacking Kev or just trying to hold the gap between you and Temp. So what were your thoughts on that one?
To be honest, after about the first 3 or 4 laps, I had to save fuel. I had to get it was a constant race-long battle to get the fuel back in, and that made it very, very difficult because there was cars ahead that I was catching, but then I had to save fuel, so couldn't attack. And in the final stint, it was a case of, right, I'm in second, Kev's about 9 seconds ahead. I'm not going to catch that up, given the strategy that I used. So it was a case of just keep the gap to Temp Fear and don't run out of fuel.
Nice one. Well done Front Racing DP for getting what we'd call the provisional second place, because obviously it's going to be going, all the footage and everything gets looked into with the Front Racing directors. So we're going to move on to Temp Fear in the Flaming Dragons Patronus Mercedes AMG, saying it all backwards like Murray Walker properly does. Temp, how did you feel your qualifying went, first of all?
I did 2 identical laps. So I wasn't particularly happy. I really probably should have been on pole, or at least front row anyway.
Yeah, I think there was quite a few people that were unable to set the lap times they were expecting to set, whether they got invalidated or the time just wasn't quite there, whether it was they were just taking it a bit cautious. But you did seem like you had the pace, and yeah, we kind of expected you to be one of the drivers that may be able to get into those 19s. So yeah, we thought you may be able to get onto that pole, but that pole position will come at one of the circuits soon, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Did you get any contact into turn 1, or did you manage to avoid the Scud missile from Freedom McLaren?
Well, I didn't really know about it. All I knew, the lights went out and DP just didn't move. I wouldn't say I had a jump start. A lot of people have moved at the same time as me, but I just seemed to get really good traction as well. Almost lost it going round it. But then after that, I pulled out and I wasn't aware of any contact behind the turn 1.
Yeah, because I think by the end of lap 1 you were leading the race, weren't you?
Yeah, I think I about a second lead on Kev already.
Yeah, you were pulling a nice little gap out there, and then we went and had a look through the field, came back, and Kev had overtaken you. So did you have a bit of an incident, or was it just Kev's pace catching you up?
First 5 laps, I was in a really good rhythm. It was a dream start. I put an Ashbear 5 laps, and then lap 6 and lap 7, all of a sudden, the front just didn't respond as it was the last 5 laps. All of a sudden, into the gravel about 3 corners in a row.
Oh dear.
Kev, I think it was the chicane for 2 Lesmos and then the 2 Lesmos. And that put Kev all over the back of me then.
Yeah. Message me later with what tyre pressures you were running so I can make sure I don't use them. But during the race, I tell you what, you're there again on the podium, and you have been top of the standings for quite some time. And obviously, Dave and Kev have pipped you with the points today, but it keeps you right in there. At any point up to now, has it crossed your mind that you actually could win this championship?
Well, it's always the aim, and ever since I realised I was up there, I think after Austria, all of a sudden I just found myself on the top. After that one race, I was quite surprised. And then I knew that I had a few strong races coming up anyway. So I thought it's a very good possibility.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like you've been aiming for your first win, or well, I should say you were aiming for your first podium, then you were aiming for your first win. Now you're aiming for you want your first pole position, and you know what? Your next step is that first championship, and it could be this season. And there's no reason why not.
I ain't got the pole first yet, but
Do you know what? I would put money on it. It would come if I was a betting man, but I'm not a betting man. but no. Honestly, if I was a betting man, I would put money on it, because you have got pace and you can beat Front Racing DP and Kev 187 in a straight fight, just depending on what circuit it is. So, yeah. So good luck in the remainder of the season, and well done with your podium. I must say, great race from all three of you. Coming back to Kev 187. I nicknamed you during that race, and Ray said, "Who?" And I referred you as being like Nico Rosberg. And Ray didn't know who Nico Rosberg was, and I was basically trying to say that you just get in a car and you're fast.
Like a robot.
You're like a robot. Nico Rosberg is obviously something that I'm not going to talk about on here, but if people want to find out, they can search him later. But Nico Rosberg is Kev, or Kev is Nico Rosberg. It must be, because you just, every week, is just, whether you've had practice or not, you're on the pace, and I just want to know how you do it. So I want a piece.
Well, I've not won that many times this season, bloody hell.
No, but you're there still. I mean, with this win, it puts you at the top of the championship.
Well, yeah, that's where I should be. I've been
Yeah.
there for the past 3 years.
Well, exactly. But I mean,
Three out of five. 3 out of 5.
but when you look at it, when you look at it, this season you've not really been that motivated. You've not put that much practice in, but it doesn't matter whether you've been motivated or not. You still seem to do it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just experience. I don't know. Experience, I guess.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm looking forward to the remainder of this season.
It gives me a good setup, you know.
You need to stop doing that, Dave.
We're 11 arrows around Monza.
Yeah. So, just to finish off, not really a question to I'll say finish off. We've got a few other things we need to ask you in a minute, but just going to say, not really a question to you, Kev. I just want to say well done on your season so far with the little practice you've done, and your win today takes you to the top of the table, as long as the standings stand as they are. What I want to do is you three don't run away yet, because what I want to do is I want to ask Ray first of all whether he's got any questions for the three of you.
Yeah, Kevin, Dave, are you changing teams for next season? Because it seems in the pits your team isn't performing well, and it's giving you more of a challenge.
We haven't discussed it, but I think the answer will be yes. Yeah, how we keep getting jumped in the pit lane. But having said that, right?
Oh no, yeah.
I know a couple of you know, because I mentioned it to you. I don't know if Temp knows this. In our practice race the other day, Temp fears a second behind me. I go into the pits, he does the auto slow down. He doesn't auto slow down, he goes into his pit box at about 200 mile an hour and comes out of the pits about a second and a half ahead of me, which was a little frustrated. And it happened again with Dan today, but it did reset Dan behind me. But I know Kev got jumped in the pits as well with a similar thing.
It's in the Kev one.
Yeah, I got jumped.
Now,
It's so annoying that about all the games. If you're right behind someone going in the pits, they always jump you.
Well, the way we look at it and what we put it down to basically is where you are in the pit lane, and because you're the bottom team, anyone coming down that pit lane, you have to wait for them. So it's basically holding you for a safe release.
Yeah, they're only 2.5 second stops though, aren't they? Roughly thereabouts. So they should still get out in front, I think.
But if you'd have been, if you'd have been in the Mercedes,
Right.
then it could quite possibly have been the other way round. So
Mercedes next season, then, Kev.
there you go.
Yep.
That's going to be everybody's. You know, there is an incentive to every driver in the World Series and World Championship to try and get their constructors as high as possible, because it is crucial to get one of the teams that is high up in the grid. But anyway, Ray, any other questions from you?
No, that was just one of the things I wanted to ask about. I think Adam might have.
Yep, so Adam, if you've got any questions, or if you want to let us know what questions have come through from YouTube, go ahead.
Yeah, we've got one from Hammer Time for Temp, asking what happened when you went into the gravel at Ascari.
To be honest, Kev would probably be better off answering that, because I have no idea myself.
I think this is what it looked like to me. He thought Jason Yarson was going to move out the way because he possibly thought he was a back marker, and then he didn't, and then they kind of collided, and then Temp had to go straight on to avoid him. Oh yeah, not collide, but he had to go straight on to avoid him.
I knew he was their position, but I don't know. I don't know whether I brake late, because I can't remember, or he braked early. All of a sudden he just stopped on my screen pretty much.
Well, that must have been lap 13 or around about that point, and Jason running a one-stopper. In fact, I think it was lap 12. Jason running a one-stopper was on options that were 12 lap hold. So he was having to be very careful and cautious on the brakes. So that was maybe one of the reasons that it caught you out, because you were on much fresher tyres at that point. So that's what it may have come down to. Adam, next one.
Just a general one that you asked, Steve. What track would you like added to the calendar?
If you could pick any racetrack in the world to add to the Formula 1 calendar, what track would it be? So start with Kev, because he won the race.
I'm not very good at
That's two
tracks.
strikes.
We'll play Mallet's Mallet. You've hesitated. Dong.
I don't know.
Okay,
Next.
passed. Right. Dave?
You know,
Oh, I like Road America actually.
There we go. Road America. Good answer.
No, I mean
You know
Watkins
what?
Glen. Not Road America. Watkins Glen.
Wrong answer. Move on.
Yeah, I like
DP.
Watkins Glen.
I
They are
don't.
actually thinking about trying to get Watkins Glen back in, but I've heard that it's Vegas. Oh, you know what? I'd be tempted to say the Nordschleifer, but the cars couldn't handle it.
No,
So
I
I'm
hate
going
it,
to
hate
say,
it.
I'm going to say the original Spa circuit, the 15-kilometre long one.
Oh, it's like a big triangle. That's a nice circuit. But now you've said that, you've just reminded me of something, but I'm not going to say it until we've asked Temp here. Temp, what circuit would you add to the F1 race calendar?
I don't want to bring back Istanbul or put Willow Springs on there.
Istanbul, good circuit, yeah. And do you know what? It's a shame they let that track go, the calendar, just because they weren't getting the bums on seats in Turkey, and I believe it was to do with ticket prices. If they'd priced it right, people would have gone. But anyway, the track I would like to see back in F1, Hockenheim, the long circuit. Oh yes, please. Oh, that was a beautiful circuit. But there we go. Anyway,
Right.
if there's no more questions from Adam or the YouTubers, I'll just check.
No, there isn't.
Okay, so podium drivers, thank you very much. I know it was a long podium, but much appreciated your input and comments there. Well done to all three of you. If you'd like to pleasantly leave before Ray hits the boot button.
Cheers, guys. Well done.
Well done.
Kev. Well done, Temp.
Cheers, well done everyone.
Congratulations.
I'll see ya later.
See ya later. So going back over to Adam down in the pit lane, do we have any driver comments?
Yeah, just well, you got a bit of disappointment from Dom earlier in the race when he got disconnected. He was quite annoyed, shall we say. Then Hammer Time saying had a rubbish race, had good pace when I pitted on primes, Should have done 2 stops, but not 3 stops. 2 stop was faster. Love battling with temp. Had good pace to stay with temp and possibly DP. Apart from that, many drivers keeping their mouth quiet.
Yeah, okay. Well, just having a little look through some of the comments that were sent out to us before the race, the ones that we didn't get to mention. Bartman was one. He was asked for some comments before the race, and he said, I just want to watch out for turn 1. Could be a bit messy. I want the weather to play a factor, which unfortunately didn't. I'm going to race for a decent result tonight. I'm trying my hardest for the team. I've been taking the races a bit too casual lately, so I'm going to get my game together and prove I can be a contender for next season. Unfortunately, Bartman was disqualified from the event today. GT5 King, did we mention him? Going to be an interesting race. Want a decent result for the team before we leave Europe for the last time. And do you know what? GT5 King, after his first corner calamities, he had a good finish. So it's hammer time was a long way. We covered it's hammer time. Jason Yarson. I'm just driving and hoping for some fights for the final points, and he finished in 8th. Well done on that one. So there we go. And I think I was going to mention Connor at one point, and I didn't get a chance to do it. I was having a discussion with Connor before the event, and he said, well, I'm looking forward to this one, targeting the top 6. Don't know whether if I will qualify or not, but we'll give me the option of a 1-stop if I didn't. We did mention that earlier. So I said to him, why top 6? You should be aiming for the top 5. Surely there's one of the Ferraris that you should be able to beat. I didn't mean that in a way that one of them wouldn't finish, unfortunately. But there we go. Very interesting comments from the drivers there that we had before the race, looking back at how the race ended. So for anyone out there that's wanting to join Front Row Racing, please come and find us on Facebook. Our Facebook page is Front Row Racing. Send us a message and you can take part in our feeder series, which is on Fridays, where you'll be able to drive with assists or without assists, and you'll be able to join one of the leagues eventually, depending on how well you drive, whether you drive to our rules or maybe become a reserve driver. Everything will be explained to you once you send us a message. The World Championship is the assists off league. The World Series, which is on Thursdays, is the assists on league, which I'll be taking part in tomorrow. So unless I've forgotten something that is blatantly obvious, Ray, Adam, have I forgotten anything?
Next event
is next Wednesday, and we are at where? Because I've got my book, I've got my calendar. We are, oh my word, I've just realised where we're at next week. It is Singapore. Okay, I need to start practicing for that tonight, even though it's next week. Okay, so be prepared for a long one next week. We are at Singapore, so we shall finish on that note. Thank you very much to my commentary team of Ray and Adam, and I've been Stevie Sherbets, also known as for Racing GP, and we shall see you all again. Thank you very much for your questions and comments.
Join us tomorrow.
Thank you very much. Good evening, goodbye.